दाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुमीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगगन रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सखगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ईश्वरा परम कृष्णा सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर गोविंदा सर्व कारण कारणम। हरे कृष्ण। By the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, we finished 4 slokas in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So being Saturday evening and Sunday morning in India, so we are in the 6th chapter now. We finished 4 slokas. So 6th chapter is titled as Dhyana Yoga. We all know the meaning of yoga. So yoga means connecting with God. So achieving the status of equanimity by connecting ourselves with God. So that's what linking with God, yoga. So only when we connect with God, we will be able to achieve that status of equanimity. That means not getting disturbed by the results. So that means being equal in both success and failure. So that is what is called yoga. So now Krishna is teaching us about how to achieve that status of equanimity, that samatvam, using this dhyana, this meditation. So it's a very important part of our spiritual life. It's a very, very important part because this chapter, Krishna is teaching us about how to control our mind. Everyone should control their mind because it's very important. Without controlling our mind, we are going to suffer. If we control our mind, we are going to enjoy. So peace of mind. Peace of mind is the source of happiness. So that real peace of mind comes when we get this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. So that means real happiness comes when our mind is completely peaceful, when our mind is not disturbed by anything in this world. So that is going to be possible only with this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. Again, this sloka many times I have quoted. So jnanam labdva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. So only when we get this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, we can get the supreme peace of mind without any delay. And we are all very fortunate by Krishna's mercy, we are able to get this knowledge. We are able to study and understand this Bhagavad Gita the way Krishna taught to Arjuna, the way Krishna wants all of us to understand. So that same way we are able to study every day and get this knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, the song of God, the most confidential knowledge, the topmost knowledge, Uttamam. And the knowledge which can be joyfully performed. It brings us so much of joy, so much of happiness. Susukam kartum avyayam, the everlasting, time-tested knowledge. So in that knowledge we are understanding now Krishna is teaching us about how to control the mind. Because in the 5th chapter when Arjuna asked a question about the difference between renouncing the work and doing the work and renouncing the results. Basically, the difference between renouncing the work and renouncing the results. So at that time, Krishna very clearly told, immediately Krishna answered Arjuna that Tayosta karma sannyasat karma yogo visishyati. So compared to renouncing the work, performing the work and renouncing the results of activities, so that is better. That's what Krishna said. Because the reason is that sannyasas to mahabaho dukkhamaptum ayogataka. So if you are not engaged in this yoga practice, so that means if you are not connecting ourselves with Krishna, ayogataka, so then if we simply do this sannyasa, that is renouncing the work only, renouncing the activities, so that brings distress, dukkam aptum ayogatam. Whereas yoga yukto munir brahma achirena nachirena adhigachyati. So if we perform our activities and renounce the results, so that is what is known as yoga yukto. So then very quickly, without any delay, we will be able to achieve Brahman. So Brahma nachirena adhigachyati. So we'll be able to go to Krishna as well very quickly. So for us, the choice is very clear. And of course, we don't have any choice also, because everyone is actually forced to work. So we cannot even renounce the work even if we want to renounce. So that point also we understand very clearly from Bhagavad Gita. Because everyone is forced to act helplessly by the three modes of material nature. So suddenly we cannot realize that, okay, I studied Bhagavad Gita, so now I can stop working, let me renounce all the activities. So we cannot say like that, because that's not going to be possible. So we need to renounce the attachment to the results. So that is possible. That is immediately possible for us. We can say that I'm not attached to the results. So that means we can prove, we can show by not getting ourselves affected by the results. So that is very much possible. So we can do that. But we cannot renounce the activities as such. It is not that much possible. It is not at all possible, because everyone is forced to act by the modes of material nature. So now from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is teaching us about how to renounce the results. That means how to give up the attachment to the results. So that's what Krishna is teaching us. So we need to learn that technique. So that way, our path is very clear. The directions are very clear. So Krishna is teaching us very, very nicely and very clearly that don't ever try to give up the activities, renounce the activities. Always perform your duty. Always perform the activities, but never ever get attached to the results of activities. So that is what is known as yoga. So yoga means when one is not attached to the results, so he is a yogi. A person, when he can be called a yogi, when he is not attached to the results. But when we are attached to the results, we are a karmi. So we are not a yogi, we are a karmi. So when we are attached to the results of activities. So that way, with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we should actually connect ourselves with Krishna and get attached to Krishna. So when we are attached to Krishna all the time, when we perform all the activities only as an offering unto Krishna, so that means yajnatat karmanu. So when we perform all the activities as yajna, as offering unto Krishna, so then we will be freed from the bondage in this material world, and we will be able to go to Krishna as well. So that's what Krishna is repeatedly teaching in Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna is asking us to give up the attachment to the results by developing attachment to Krishna. Because we cannot just like that give up all our attachment to the results. That is not possible. Because the mind has to get attached to something. The mind has to think about something all the time. The mind cannot sit idle. Idle mind is the devil's workshop. So the mind has to always be very active. So mind will be active all the time. So we cannot stop our mind thinking. So the thought process cannot be blocked. It cannot be stopped. So that way we need to focus our mind on Krishna. So that technology we are understanding very well from this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. So Krishna is teaching us how to fix our mind on Krishna, how to focus our mind on Krishna. So that way, especially in this 6th chapter, in this Dhyana Yoga, Krishna is teaching us how to control our mind, how to make our mind as the best friend. So all these things, if we just follow, because Krishna is simply not saying us, not telling us that you just control your mind, mind will become your best friend, otherwise your mind is enemy. Krishna is not just saying that. Krishna is actually giving us the instructions, the knowledge. Krishna is giving us the complete instructions, guidance about how to control our mind, the procedures. Krishna is giving us the procedure. So we just have to follow step-by-step guide, step-by-step instructions Krishna is giving us. So we need to understand, study, understand, and practice. So that's what is very important. Practice makes man perfect. So practice only we can achieve anything. We can achieve anything simply by practice. That's what is called abhyasa. When Arjuna told Krishna also, I don't think I can control the mind. Yoyam yogas tvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyagam na pasyami chanchalatva sthitim stira. I don't see that I can control my mind because the mind is restless. Etasyagam na pasyami. I don't see. I don't think I can control my mind. That's what Arjuna told Krishna. Krishna also agreed, but Krishna told that anything is possible by practice. So that's what we need to do. That is abhyasa. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. So if you practice with detachment, it is very much possible. So that means we should practice detaching ourselves from this material world, material sense objects. That practice we need to do. So that practice Krishna is teaching in this Bhagavad Gita, in this 6th chapter, how to focus our mind on Krishna and how to fix our mind on Krishna. So if we have to just follow all the instructions given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, so in all the chapters, all the slokas, whatever Krishna told us, we have to simply just follow it. If we just do that, we will be relieved, we will be freed from this material way. We just have to just follow what Krishna says. Everything we just have to follow. And if we have faith, we understand. We will understand what Krishna is instructing us. We will understand without any doubt. We will completely understand just because we are having faith on Krishna. When we have that belief, faith on Krishna, when we understand this Bhagavad Gita, then we just have to follow every day. It's not very hard. Remembering Krishna is actually the easiest process. Because one important thing in this material world, if you want to do anything, we have to spend money. We have to pay for it. And everything is expensive. Everything is getting expensive day by day also. So nothing. We may think that economy is growing, economy is improving, all such things. But for a period of time, but this Bhagavad Gita knowledge is free. It's not at all expensive because it's invaluable. You cannot value this Bhagavad Gita. It's invaluable. So, and this chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, this following this Bhagavad Gita, they are all very, very easy. So, we don't have to pay any money to anyone. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to spend anything from anything to outside spending money. Everything is just free of cost. But the gain by constantly remembering him, by always connecting with Krishna, if we gain Krishna, if we lose this matter, if we lose this material world, lose means if we lose the attachment to this material world, what is going to happen? We are going to gain Krishna. So then, whatever our material needs are there, Krishna is going to fulfill. Krishna is going to give us. He is going to deliver. So that way, without the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, just forgetting about Krishna, not knowing about Krishna, if we are just going after the material world, material sense objects, we are gaining everything to lose, of course, and we are actually losing our peace. We are losing our happiness. We are gaining distress, and we are suffering. We are struggling in this material world. But if we just get into this boat of knowledge, this Bhagavad Gita, if you just light this lamp of knowledge, this Bhagavad Gita, So then if we can see through this eyes of knowledge, the Jnana Chakshushaka, so then actually we will gain Krishna. We will develop attachment to Krishna. So when Krishna is with us, then all our material needs, we don't have to go after them. We don't have to struggle. We don't have to suffer. Everything will be supplied by Krishna. Krishna gives us everything. So that way, a devotee will depend fully on Krishna in all circumstances, all the time. So with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we need to depend only on Krishna. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, so then we will be able to actually deliver ourselves from this material world, liberate ourselves, free from the clutches of Maya. So then only it is possible. So in the 6th chapter, we studied 4 slokas as I already said. So in the first 4 slokas, what did Krishna teach us? So anasridaga karma palam karyam karma karotyaga sa sannyasi cha yogi cha naniragnir nachakriya. So when a person is not attached to the results of the activities and perform all the duties, so then he is a sannyasi and he is a yogi. So sa sannyasi cha yogi cha naniragnir nachakriya, not the one who doesn't ignite fire or who is not doing anything. Yam sannyasam iti prahur yogam tam vidhi pandava. Nahya sannyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. So whatever is known as sannyasa is also called as yoga. Yam sannyasam iti prahur yogam tam vidhi pandava. And also without sannyasa, nahya sannyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. A yogi cannot, no one can become a yogi without renouncing. So we have to renounce. But we need to renounce the results of the activities. We don't need to renounce the activities. We have to renounce the results. We need to renounce the results means we need to renounce the attachment to the results. So that's what we should do. So if we renounce the attachment to the results of activities, so then we will become a yogi. Then we are also sannyasi. So that's why Krishna is teaching us that in the beginning, when we start performing this yoga, doing our activities are said to be the means. Arurukshor muner yogam karma karanam uchyate. So everyone has to perform their duty. Karma karanam uchyate. Yoga rudasya tasyeva samaha karanam uchyate. When we achieve that yoga, when we achieve that status of equanimity, so that means when we are no longer affected by the results, when we are equal in both success and failure, so then cessation of activities are said to be the means. Then because we are not forced to work, and at that time we can stop. There should be the reason for stopping our works, stopping our duties. What should be the reason? Achieving the status of equanimity. That's what is called yoga. And when we can declare, when we can say that we have achieved that status of equanimity, that we have achieved the status of yoga, yadahi na indriyateshu na karmasu anusajjate. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudas tadochyate. So one who is not attached, na anusajjate. So na anusajjate indriyartesu. Indriyartesu means sense objects. Karmasu means the work, the activities. So one who is not attached to the results of the work and sense objects. So at that time we can say that yoga rudas tadochyate. He is a sarva sankalpa sannyasi. He is able to renounce everything. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi, who is able to renounce everything. So he is known as, at that time we can declare that he has achieved the status of yoga. Yoga rudas tadochyate. At that point of time, we need not do anything. Nothing is forcing us to act. So now we are going to continue today, starting from the 5th sloka in the 6th chapter. So Krishna is teaching us that in the 5th sloka in the 6th chapter, Uddared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadaye atmaivahi atmano bangur atmaiva ripuratmanaga. Uddaret means one must elevate. That means one must deliver. So Uddaret, Atman, Atmanam. Atmana means by the mind, by the mind. Atmana. Atmana means by the mind. Atmana means the self. So one should elevate oneself with the help of mind. So that means one must deliver himself with the help of his mind. Uddaret Atman Atman. Natmanam avasadiyat. So with the mind, so na Atmanam avasadiyat means one should not degrade himself. One should not put himself into degradation. So not degrade himself. That's what Natmanam Avasadi. Because the mind is actually Atmaivahi Atmano Bandhu. For Atmano, for the self, this Atmaiva, this mind is a friend. So Atmaivagi Atmano Bandhu, but the same mind, Atmaiva Ripura Atmanaga. It's also enemy of the soul. So it's a friend as well as enemy. So the mind. It all depends upon when it is a friend and when it is an enemy. If we study the next sloka, we will understand. So here Krishna is saying that one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So when our mind is friend and when our mind is enemy, so in the next sloka, in the sloka number 6, Krishna, in the 6th chapter, Krishna is teaching us that Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivātmanājitaga anatmanastu satrutve vartetatmaiva satruvat. Bandhur atmatmanastasya. So Atma Atmanastasya. That's what Atmatmanastasya means. Atma Atmanastasya. So Atma is also mind, also referred to soul, Atmanastasya. So friend. So mind is the friend of the soul. When Yenatmaivatmana jitaka. That means when the mind is controlled by the soul. Yena jitaka. Yena jitaka means Yena Atmana jitaka. So when the mind is able to, when the soul is able to control Atma. Atma means the mind. So when the soul is able to control the mind. So Yenatmaivatmana jitaka. So at that time the mind is the friend. So bandhu. Anatmanastu satrutve. So for the soul, when it is not able to control the mind, anatmanastu, so then the mind is always enemy. It's treated as enemy. So when we keep our mind as our enemy by not controlling it, so that's what anatmanastu satrutve, then it will remain as our enemy only. Vartetatmaiva satruvatu. It will always remain the greatest enemy. So right now, the mind is our enemy. We need to understand. Because our mind is not in our control. That we know for sure. We know we are trying, we are studying Bhagavad Gita, we are understanding Bhagavad Gita, and we are putting efforts to control our mind. So right now our mind is our enemy. So that's what anatmanastu satrutve. So when we treat our mind as our enemy, when we keep our mind as our enemy, it will always remain our enemy until we control the mind and make it as our best friend. So that's why the mind can be our friend as well as enemy. So that's why in the previous sloka, Krishna taught us that Uddaret Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadet Atmaivahi Atmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripur Atmanaga. Mind is the friend as well as enemy. So it depends upon whether we control the mind or the mind controls us. When we control the mind, then our mind will become our friend. When the mind controls us, so then if we are controlled by the mind, then the mind will remain our greatest enemy. That's what Krishna is teaching us. So, of course, in this chapter, starting from the sloka number 11 to 18, Krishna is going to teach us very, very clearly about how to control our mind. All those instructions, if we study those 8 slokas, if we understand and just follow everything in our life, so then we will be able to control the mind. So now Krishna is continuing in the next sloka, in the 7th sloka in the 6th chapter, Krishna is continuing that. Jitatmanaga prasantasya paramatma samahitaga sitoshna sukha dukkeshu tatamana pamanayo. Jitatmanaga prasantasya. When our mind is conquered, when we are able to control our mind, that means our mind is peaceful. So we have attained that tranquility by controlling our mind. That's what prasantasya. So by achieving the prasanta, by peace, by controlling our mind. So that's the source of our peace of mind. So because Bhagavad Gita brings peace of mind, jnanam labdva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is teaching us about how to control our mind. That's why we are able to get peace of mind by studying this Bhagavad Gita. So, Jitatmanaga Prashantasya Paramatma Samahitaga. So, at that time, we will be able to achieve Paramatma. So, we will be able to completely realize Paramatma, who is a super soul, who is seated in our heart, so as the super soul. So, Paramatma Samahitaga. Once we are able to see the super soul within our body, once we are able to realize that we are not the body, we are the soul, and once we are able to control our mind, make it as our best friend, and always fully connected with Krishna, with this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, at that point of time, all the external things are not going to bother us. Anything. Sitoshna, Sukha Dukkha, Mana, Apamana, all such things. So that's what Sitoshna, Sukha Dukkhesu, Tata, Mana, Apamana. So heat and cold, Sitoshna, cold and heat, Sita and Ushna. And Sukha Dukkha, that is happiness and distress. And Mana, Apamana, so that is honor and dishonor. So nothing is going to bother us. So that means we will be able to at that time Dvandva Atito. Dvandva Atito means free ourselves from the dualities in this material nature. Nirasiri Yata Chittatma Tyakta Sarva Parigraha Sariram Kevaram Karma. So we will be Dvandva Atito. Yadircha Labha Santushto Dvandva Atito Vimatsarga. Samaga Siddha Vasiddhaucha Kirtvapi Nanipadyate. So Dvandva Atito means we are actually freed from the dualities in this material world. So that's what Shitoshna Sukha Dukkeshu Tata Mana Apamani. So for one who has conquered the mind, so that's what Jitat Managa, the super soul is already reached. Paramatma Samahita. So far he has attained tranquility. So there is Prashantasi. So to such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Shitoshna Sukha Dukkeshu Tata Mana Apamana. So then Krishna is continuing in the next shloka, shloka number 8. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutasto Vijitendriyaga Yukta Ituchyate Yogi Samaloshtrasma Kanchanaga. So Krishna is actually explaining who is a yogi. So we know yoga. Yoga means when a person is equal in both success and failure. So that status of equanimity is called yoga. Now who is a yogi? So yogi is who is satisfied with both theoretical and practical knowledge. So that's what acquired and realized knowledge. So there is jnana and vijnana. So now we are getting the knowledge, jnana. And when we put this knowledge into practice, so that's what is called vijnana. So that's what jnana, vijnana. So Krishna uses this word jnana, vijnana in different slokas also. Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshyami asesataga yajnatva nega bhuyonyati jnatavyam avasisate. In the seventh chapter, second sloka, Krishna is using. And even the 9th chapter, first sloka also, Krishna is saying that idam tudhe guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave jnanam vijnana sagitam yajnatva mokshase asubha. So jnanam vijnana. So here Krishna is saying that Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. So one who is always satisfied, Atma. So Atma, the soul, which is always satisfied with this Bhagavad Gita and practicing this Bhagavad Gita. So gaining this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, the theoretical knowledge, and then putting this knowledge into practice, that is the realized knowledge. So at that time, we are able to control our senses, Vijitendriya. That's why Krishna said that Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparaga samyate indriyaga. So samyate indriyaga means we will be able to control our senses. Because we are able to control our mind. When we are able to control our mind, then with our mind, we can control our senses. Niyamya arabate. So we can, Yastvindriyani manasa niyamya arabate Arjuna. With our mind, we will be able to control our senses. So that's what Kutasto Vijitendriyaga. So situated in that platform, that spiritual platform, Kutasto, so spiritually situated. So that kind of status is, that kind of person is known as yogi. So he is known as yogi, yukta. Yukta means who is engaged in Krishna's devotional service, who is always connected with Krishna, who is completely, fully satisfied with the theoretical and practical knowledge, and who has controlled his senses and who made mind as his best friend. So then he is a yogi, he is called as yogi, and for such yogi, sama lostra asma kanchana. So lostra, asma, and kanchana. So there is pebbles, stone, and gold. So everything is equal for him. So he won't differentiate between pebbles, stones, and gold. Everything is same for him. That's what sama lostra asma kanchana. So the same way lostra asma kanchana, Krishna also is using in the 14th chapter towards the end. So there is the three modes of material nature. So at that time when Arjuna asked the question, Kailingehi trin guna netan achito bhavati prabhu kimachara katam chaitan trin gunan ativattadi. So by what symptoms one is can be understood that he is freed from the modes of nature. At that time also Krishna is using the word samalostra kanchana. Sukha swastha samalostrashma kanchana tulya priya priyo dhiras tulya nindatma samsutihi. This sloka number 24 in the 14th chapter, Krishna is teaching that samalostrasma kanchana means who is equal to both, who is treating the pebbles, stones, and gold, everything equally. So that's what is samalostrasma kanchana. So that way, that's what is going to happen when we study this Bhagavad Gita and control our mind. So a person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. So that way, when we are able to control our mind with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we won't be disturbed by anything in this material world because we are fully connected with Krishna. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, we have successfully finished 4 slokas today in the 6th chapter. So sloka number 8 we finished up to sloka number 8. So I will stop now and we'll discuss if any questions are there. Hare Krishna.